Most Americans know of the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. Burning down nearly a third of the city, it left almost 90,000 people homeless and caused over $200 million in damage. What many don't know is that around the time of the 19th and early 20th century, many other cities suffered a similar fate. Poor urban planning resulted in crowded, narrow streets lined with wooden buildings and tangled overhead wires. With this layout, fire was inevitable. The lack of sufficient firefighting methods and standards did not help to control these fires. In 1904, fire ravaged the city of Baltimore. Firefighters from neighboring cities such as Philadelphia and Washington, D.C., came to its aid only to find that their hose couplings failed to fit Baltimore's hydrants. Sadly, situations like this were common at the time, and it became obvious that the need to improve the fire prevention industry was necessary. Over the next several decades, various trade associations formed to address these needs. Organizations like the National Fire Protection Association, known as the NFPA, determined standards and codes to regulate the industry and its evolving technology. As Americans began to recognize the importance of fire protection, so too did entrepreneurs. And with this recognition, Fireline Corporation was born. The year was 1947. John Samuel Waters, a stockbroker in Baltimore, Maryland, found himself increasingly dissatisfied with his line of work. Soon he stumbled across an advertisement in the newspaper recruiting people to distribute a new line of fire protection systems. Even with no prior experience, he knew the fire protection industry was growing, and he was eager to be a part of it. So Waters quit his job, invested his life savings, and became an exclusive distributor of Shoreline fire extinguishers, naming his new business the Automatic Fire Protection Company. With the assistance of a few students working on commission, he spent his days selling Shoreline carbon tetrachloride extinguishers. By the end of 1947, he felt confident enough to incorporate his business. In 1948, Waters convinced the captain of the Baltimore City Fire Department to join the company as a sales representative. The contacts he brought in provided automatic fire protection the client base it needed. The two spent the beginning of every week selling extinguishers and the end of every week servicing them. Their routine was in place. But even with this new business, the company experienced limited growth for the next 2 years. Then, in 1950, Waters was made the exclusive distributor of Randolph Laboratories' new CO2 extinguisher. This well-known product brought with it the success needed to expand the business, and by the end of 1948, Waters changed the company name to the Fireline Corporation. Over the next 5 years, Fireline grew as a distributor, and it wasn't long before it looked to become a manufacturer as well. Their soda acid, foam, and carbon tetrachloride products were in high demand all along the East Coast, so much so that Fireline had to move to a larger warehouse in downtown Baltimore. Continuing to move forward, Waters made Fireline the first company in Maryland to sell the new miracle agent, monoammonium phosphate, better known as ABC dry chemical. Extinguishers containing ABC could put out wood fires, flammable liquids, and electrical fires. No longer did customers need to buy an extinguisher to accommodate each type. To this day, ABC is the most commonly used extinguisher in the country. Fireline's early interest in ABC extinguishers made it obvious to manufacturers that it was a company looking towards the future. In 1960, Fireline became a distributor with the Ansol product line, and in 1962, Ansol introduced its R101 dry chemical system for restaurant appliances and hoods. Fireline immediately became involved and began to sell and service kitchen suppression systems. In 1963, Waters saw the benefits of looking at fire protection on a national level and became one of the founding members of the National Association of Fire Equipment Distributors, otherwise known as NAFED. Over the years, NAFED has helped distributors like Fireline improve the quality of business by informing them on advancements in the industry. Waters was NAFED's first Region 1 director and became its third president in 1965. It was during this time that Fireline moved its headquarters to its current location, just outside Baltimore. This industrial area provided Fireline with the space it needed to build a large office and warehouse with close access not only to Baltimore City, but Washington, D.C. as well. Business continued to expand, and in 1968, the nation was introduced to Halon 1301. It was the most effective gaseous agent discovered at the time and was ideal for computer rooms, telecommunication switchboards, aircrafts, and historical collections. Fireline wasted no time in incorporating it into their company and soon began distributing Fenwal's well-known line of products. It was not long before Fireline had established a department focusing solely on the sales and installation of these suppression systems. Once established, this department brought in well-known clients such as Mount Vernon in Virginia and the Rare Book Room in the Library of Congress. Waters' dedication to the company spread to his family, and in 1974, his son Stephen joined Fireline. Over the next several years, Stephen familiarized himself with the inner workings of the company in a variety of departments in order to learn his way around the business. Following his father's footsteps, he became the Region 1 director for NAFED in 1981, and 4 years later served as its president. Meanwhile, Fireline continued to grow, and in 1975, it looked to develop a department that focused on the servicing of the many suppression systems it was installing. Due to standards issued by the NFPA, Fireline customers needed a company to regularly maintain their newly installed systems. It was this need that marked the beginning of the Systems Service Department, a division that would later grow to become the largest in the company. By 1983, Waters felt his son capable of taking on the company and resigned as its president. His son Stephen became the CEO of Fireline and still runs the company today, seeing it through unprecedented growth. Not long after becoming president, Stephen was faced with one of the industry's hardest hits. Halon 1301, the chemical that was so effective and so profitable to the industry, was targeted by the Environmental Protection Agency as one of many chemicals harming the Earth's ozone. It was announced that Halon 1301 had to be phased out within the next decade. Stephen Waters wasted no time in taking an active stance on the ruling. He joined a committee in NAFED that worked closely with the halon research industry to develop alternate methods. Their work with the EPA found new chemicals capable of producing results similar to that of halon, such as FM200, Energen, and Fe13. As a way to cope with the setbacks in the suppression industry, Fireline became more active in the servicing of fire alarm systems, and by the late 1980s, Fireline added an alarm division to its Systems Service Department. With the demand to service these systems increasing, Fireline added the Fire Alarm Installation Department in 1994. Over time, it grew to become one of the most profitable in the company. Engineers were hired to design these systems, and technicians hired to install them. As Fireline's involvement in fire alarms increased, so too did its involvement with the promotion of addressable systems. These systems allow the customer more flexibility with advanced programming and are ideal for complex building structures. It was around this time that the National Institute of Certified Engineer Technicians, or NICET, began to develop certification programs for fire protection system designers. Their standardized exams allowed engineers and technicians to further their education. NICET certification is a respected mark of excellence in the industry, and Fireline encouraged its technicians to receive the training necessary to reach the goals NICET set forth. In the late 1990s, the System Service Department was still subcontracting out any sprinkler jobs that were added to their fire alarm or suppression contracts. Realizing the benefits to servicing sprinklers, Fireline began to add sprinkler technicians to the System Service team. Over the next several years, the Sprinkler Service Division grew, taking on fire pumps and backflow preventers in addition to sprinklers. By 2005, Fireline was recognized as a service component in the sprinkler community and decided to start a sprinkler installation department. Fireline continues to grow today. Since its 50-year anniversary in 1997, it has doubled in size, now employing over 150 men and women in 2 locations. The office Fireline moved to in 1964 still remains Fireline's main headquarters. But with business increasing so much over the years, it became apparent that some remodeling was needed. In 2005, Fireline built a 7,200 square foot warehouse to handle the space requirements needed to store the inventory of the growing company. In addition to the main office, Fireline currently has a branch in Leesburg, Virginia, that serves the Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia area. It specializes in the servicing and installation of extinguisher and kitchen hood systems. Keeping with Fireline tradition, it too has continued to grow over the years. Fireline's growth is marked by the development of the industry. New advancements in fire protection are constantly being introduced. As these new methods emerge, environmental groups once again examine the effect of some fire protection chemicals on the ozone. Making sure to stay ahead of the curve, Fireline continues to look for alternate, more environmentally friendly methods, such as water mist systems or Novak 1230. Novak 1230 is fast becoming the new fire suppression chemical of choice, as it releases significantly less CO2 into the air. Fireline also promotes the proactive versus the reactive stance on fire protection by offering the sale and installation of air sampling systems. These systems constantly monitor the air to prevent the development of a fire before it reaches the point of extinguishment. As a company that has been in business for over 60 years, Fireline's position of prominence in the fire protection industry is a direct result of its dedication to its customers and the quality of products supplied to them. Though John Waters saw the company as a business opportunity, he never forgot that he was selling a product that saves lives. Waters now watches on as his son runs one of the most diverse fire protection companies in the country. Overseeing 10 departments, Stephen Waters has helped to push the expansion of Fireline into what it is today. Fireline now provides service or installation in everything from fire extinguishers, kitchen hood systems, suppression systems, fire alarm systems, and sprinkler systems. As a result, even though Americans suffered from fires in the past, Fireline Corporation is making an effort to save them from the fires of the future.